Hey everybody, Force Comic News is brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Fortress of Comic News. If you enjoy our content, you like what we're doing here, you like the growth that we're making, and love the future that we have coming, go over to Patreon.com/Fortress Comic News. Throw us a buck or two. You'll get into our Slack channel. You get into the basically Insiders Club. I'm there all the time. I'll let you know what's going on, what the future of Fortress Comic News is, where we're heading, what's coming up, anything. And if you have any questions whatsoever, I try to answer as many as I can, if not all. So if you have an extra buck or two, throw it over there. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the show.
Well, anyways, yeah. Bitch, don't kill you. Don't gotta know that part. Everybody, you've heard it in the movie. Anyways, he's gonna be doing the music for Black Panther, which, I mean, he's got a song called "The Blacker the Berry," so makes sense.
I can't handle this.
King Kunta, that's a song. He has a song called "I." It's just "I."
He's obviously a genius.
He's a lyrical genius.
And with that, hello everybody, and welcome to Fortress Comic News, episode 55. I am the new and improved Chris.
So what happened? I'm Mike. I shaved my beard, and then all the hair got stuck on Chris's face.
I actually am from another dimension. I'm the evil Chris.
Oh, you do kind of look evil, and you don't wear a hat either. So I was wondering.
Yeah, it was.
Good Chris doesn't leave the house without a hat or go out in public without a hat.
That is true.
So you got to blend in a little more. You got to shave. I just want to know what you did with the other Chris. Where is his body?
He's in another dimension right now, kind of chilling. And I shaved my beard, and I got younger by like 22 years. Isn't it great how that happens?
I look like a child, or at least I think I look like a child.
So before I took my current job, because my current job won't let you have a beard, you can only have a goatee.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah.
We talked about this before.
And I had a full beard, and like my hair it wasn't long, but it was like homeless man who like just became homeless long.
Wait. Do you walk around the street like if you're in the city and you see a homeless guy, you're like, no, honey, that's a just became homeless guy.
That's like a fresh homeless. Like
and the guy turns around. He's like, yes, please don't mistake me for. Please don't mistake me for. He goes, watch your tone. I've been homeless for 10 years, and you're like, no, you only look like you've been homeless for a couple days. And he's like, well, gotta stop trimming my hair, I guess.
Well, it was like
associated.
It was basically like, I guess the better way to put it was just like raggy. Like it was just kind of like I didn't give a fuck at that point in my life.
Yeah.
And and I walked into Pepsi like that, and then and they told me to shave, and I shaved, and I cut my hair, and I immediately turned into a 13-year-old. It was pretty ridiculous.
Like, where's that grown man we hired? Why is there a boy here? Why is there a boy stocking shelves? Who is this boy? Yeah.
So yeah. So you have any New Year's resolutions?
No. Yeah. So Christmas was cool, and then after Christmas, I took the week off from work. New Year's week, I was going to go visit some friends over the weekend. Ended up stopping and seeing some family, which is a bad idea because I walked into the house, and everybody in the house was like dying of strep throat.
Yeah, that was going around.
So that night, I went and saw Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which was pretty awesome.
Oh,
Little fun fact about Trans-Siberian Orchestra, kids. There was a band in the 80s called Sabotage. It was a hair metal band. And if you ever listen to this band, don't listen to any of this other song except Hall of the Mountain King. That was Chris's phone.
that was my
But
phone.
he's not actually playing A Link to the Past. Well, or Ocarina of Time while he's podcast. He might be playing Ocarina of Time while he's podcasting. I have no idea.
I'm very good at multitasking.
But anyways, what was I saying? Oh, so there's a band called Sabotage, and the song's called Hall of the Mountain King, and it's one of those metal. It was one of those metal bands that would like Iron Maiden, where every song is about like it's like a story of like Dio stories of like ancient gods, and there's this king on a mountain. Well, I was getting real into them, and I'm like, you know what? I want to go see these guys in concert. I'm like, oh man, they're not a band anymore. Well, it's because the lead guitarist, who shreds, started TSO, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and I was like, oh wow. And then when I went to the show, it was the lead guitarist. The bassist used to be in Trans-Siberian Orchestra. The drummer is still in Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And one of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra has like TSO has like 8 singers, and one of the singers is the original singer of Sabotage. So it was kind of like I saw Sabotage. That was my. I don't know.
I
I don't know where I was going with that story. Oh, I saw them. I woke up the next day, and I was dying on the. I thought I was dying. Well, I had the flu or something like that, and then I laid there on the couch for like 4 days. At New Year's Eve, I waited till midnight to take my NyQuil, and then it hit. I took my NyQuil and I went to bed. That was pretty much it. You know, it was wild. I'm so glad I took work off that week because I spent it absolutely doing nothing. I did watch Black Mirror came out on Netflix. I watched all 6 episodes in like one day. So I'll talk about that in a second. I played some video games. I finally started like getting into South Park: The Stick of Truth. That game's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
If you're a South Park fan, you got to play that game because it's just like watching an episode of South Park. Yeah. Oh, I saw Star Wars a couple more times. I've seen Star Wars 3 times now.
Nice.
I had plans to see it a 4th time, but I was dying on the couch, so didn't get to see it. What about you? What exciting things happened on your end?
I worked a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, worked and had a nice lazy weekend for the New Year's. New Year's Day was in bed promptly at 10 o'clock.
Nice.
Played a lot of Golf Story. Have you heard of this game?
What game?
Golf Story.
Yeah, I have heard of Golf Story.
I'm playing a lot of that. It's fantastic.
What do you just play golf?
It's a mix between a 16-bit golf game and like a classic RPG.
That's very. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's the most Chris thing to ever exist because I have a strange obsession with golf video games. I don't know why.
But you don't play golf.
No, I don't golf in real life. But I love golf video games.
Oh man, I'm still like half dying here, but
watched a lot of TV, got some movies in, read comics, and did a bunch of stuff for the show.
Nice.
So 2018 is already looking good for us.
Yeah, we got a sick lineup coming up. That's why I don't feel bad about giving these people nothing in this episode. You're getting nothing.
Yeah.
We got nothing for you.
There's nothing there. Like one thing happened. We'll talk about it.
Nothing. Yeah, one thing happened. We'll talk about it. I actually, yeah. So let me talk about Black Mirror. I guess if anybody doesn't know, I really like Black Mirror because it's like a modern day Twilight Zone. This is spoilers for all 6 episodes. I'm not going to spoil like there's not really a whole lot to spoil. I mean, they're all really depressing stories.
Does anybody fuck a pig in any of them?
No, there's no pig fucking in this one.
Not worth watching.
There is a really cool one that's black and white. It's almost like a Mad Max Fury Road episode. Which it's like this girl is just being chased by this robot is like hunting her down. Like this, like it's like a dog-sized robot, and she tried to steal something, and it activates this robot, and it just chases her the whole episode. And it's these things are designed to like kill humans. It's actually really creepy the way the thing like runs wicked fast. And that was probably my favorite episode. I think my second favorite episode of the season was the Star Trek episode with Meth Damon from Breaking Bad. He plays like Captain Kirk, but it's like it's the first episode of the season. It's crazy because it's like you think it's like a Star Trek episode, but he's actually like chief technology officer of a video game design studio, and it's all VR based gaming, but he like develops a VR for himself, like a mod to the game where he's like this Starfleet captain. Basically, he's like obsessed with like Star Trek in real life, and so the people that he surrounds himself with, like in the ship, are like people that he interacts with in the office. And what he does is he somehow gets a piece of their DNA and like makes a mod of the person in the game. But the people in real life don't know that they're in the game with him, but the people that are in the game are basically clones. So they think like they're self-aware. They know what's going on. And he's like the god of their little micro universe that he created. It's really messed up. Like as you watch the episode, it gets more and more progressively messed up. And it's pretty awesome.
I should probably watch beyond the pig fucking episode.
Yeah, you probably should. It gets pretty crazy. The really cool thing they did with this season is the very last episode. They you're at this museum and you start to realize like, oh my god, all the stuff in this museum is from previous episodes, and it kind of ties the whole universe together almost, because a lot of the episodes revolve around either like transferring people's like transferring like cognitive brain function, like thinking and stuff to other bodies, or like combining them in one body, or there's a lot of crazy stuff going on with like after you die they can upload your consciousness somewhere, and there's kind of like a thing at the very last episode that kind of ties it all together and says like, yeah, these are all part of the same universe. It's kind of relatively the same technology, but these are all just single stories that branch off within the universe. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, because I'm all about, like, universe building and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. It was essentially like if you had been watching The Twilight Zone for, like, 6 seasons, and one of the season finales, they're like, oh, by the way, you're all in one universe. Like, they had if you had, like, collections from each Twilight Zone. It was really cool. And I think they might have done that in the Twilight Zone, if I can remember. There might have been an episode where they like hinted at a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, it was really good. Season 4 that came out. Chris and I. But anyways,
I watched a couple Netflix shows as well.
Oh, what did you watch?
I watched a couple, not just one.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I can't even guess what they were.
Okay, first, highly recommend this. Have you heard of American Vandal?
No, what is this?
Okay, have you watched Making a Murderer?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a mockumentary done in the style of Making a Murderer. And it revolves around this kid who's like the head of the AV club at his high school.
Uh-huh.
And he's the one making the documentary. And the documentary is about this kid that got expelled from school because they accused him of spray painting dicks on the cars of all the faculty in the school.
Oh, man.
It is one of the funniest things I've watched in a long time. Like, it's played so straight, but just the situations are ridiculous.
They're just like straight face talking about dicks on their cars.
Yeah, well, like, literally there's a point where they're like, there's no way he could have done it, because like the kid in question is like, he's made out to be like a real typical stoner doofus type.
Uh-huh.
And, he would walk up to, like, chalkboards and draw dicks on them. And that was part of their, like, he's known for doing this. And so at one point, they're all sitting around with pictures of a bunch of different dicks he's drawn on like, chalkboards and everything. And they have, like, those put up. And then they have the ones from the cars. And they notice that the ones in the cars don't have ball hairs on them. So, like, that's their, like, smoking gun. Like, he couldn't have done it. There's no ball hair.
He couldn't have done it. There's no ball hair on it.
It's so great.
Shit.
I highly recommend it. I watched that in a few days, and in my world, that's amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome. Vandal, it's called?
American Vandal. Highly recommend it to everybody. It's really funny, and just really well done. Like, whoever made this, like, hit it spot on.
Yeah.
One that's a little bit more relevant to the show is the documentary they just put out. It's a series, but they do it in little 1-hour chunks, and it's called The Toys That Made Us.
Someone at work had told me about this, and I should watch the first episode of it because it's all about Star Wars, right?
Yeah, the first episode's Star Wars, the second episode's Barbie, the third episode is He-Man, and then the last episode is G.I. Joe, and then I guess they want to do more. I don't know if they've officially said or not whether they are. All 4 episodes are great. Even the Barbie one, I really enjoyed. Like, there's things about the Barbie one that just made it fascinating, including the fact that the lead engineer was just, like, a really fucked up individual. He made so much money that he was able to basically build his own castle. Complete with a moat and everything.
Oh my god. That is awesome.
And if you saw on Twitter, I posted a picture. There's a scene, where this woman is, she's giving an interview and she's like the head of Mattel, and I don't know what the fuck is happening in the background. Yeah,
there's like some sex doll or something.
Yeah, it's like a deflated sex doll or something. I don't know what the hell is happening, but it was. Really
they left it in. I don't know why they would leave it there for the interview. It was really disturbing looking.
Honestly, why not? As like somebody who's like shot stuff before, why wouldn't you? Like, the most interesting thing in that room is the fact there's like a deflated sex doll in the background. Why not leave it in?
Yeah. It was really strange.
It's really well done. I watched it because I walked in the comic shop and the comic owner was watching it and I got sucked in.
Yeah.
And B, because I was like, oh, the first episode is about Star Wars, I'm in.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
And I don't care about Barbie. I don't really care about He-Man and G.I. Joe. I can take it or leave it. But they were all really fascinating, and I had a lot of fun watching it. Another one I highly recommend. And Patton Oswalt does the voiceover for it, too.
Oh, okay. I definitely gotta watch it.
So,
those Star Wars toys, especially the He-Man toys, too. I don't really know about Barbie, but the original He-Man toys go for quite a bit of money on eBay. And a lot of the Star Wars like prototypes and stuff that go for hundreds or thousands of dollars now or something like that.
Well, they show this guy, and I've seen him before, and he has like a farm, and he collects Star Wars stuff, and he calls the farm like Obi-Wan Ranch or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he has like one of the world's biggest collections of Star Wars toys and memorabilia, and it's amazing. Like, we would just cream ourselves walking in there. And what's great is awesome. he's given his interview, and behind him are all the toys, but then like directly next to him is a life-size R2-D2 that he mocked up to look like the R2-D2 from the Family Guy movies with the afro and the chains.
Yeah. That is awesome. That's a lot of those go for. I just remember, like, I used to work with a guy who his son was just getting old enough to play with action figures, and he was like, "Oh, I got a great idea. I'm going to go on eBay and find all those old He-Man figures I used to have when I was a kid, because he needs to experience that." Because I mean, I think they have the newer He-Man cartoons that they had for kids. I think they're on Netflix or something. And he went to go buy them, and even like out of the packaging, they're worth like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
he's like, I can't afford to buy these for my kid.
And He-Man was the one like outlier of the three where, it was like really popular for a period. Like, they said that it was the first boys' toy to outsell Barbie at Hasbro for like a long period of time.
Yeah.
And then just like fell off a cliff. And nobody cared. And they were showing like, you know, they go through the years and they show you where all the properties are at today. And basically He-Man nowadays, like they still make toys, but they make like high-end toys
like
geared
statues.
towards adults.
Yeah.
Not even like more like hot toys. Like they said like most of them are like 100, 120.
Oh wow.
But that's because they tried a few times to gear it towards kids again, and they just failed every time. Like they didn't care.
Wow.
So but the rest of them all thrive.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, so Chris and I both watched the Netflix movie that just came out. And Netflix has been killing it, even with stuff that's like not like even the original stuff. They just released the trailer today for Game Over Man. I don't know if I didn't watch the trailer yet.
I didn't see that.
I'm actually excited for it because it comes out March 26th, I think. But it's got the Workaholics as the cast.
Oh, I'm in.
Yeah. So they're basically the three guys from the Workaholics are I don't know, they're like they work at a hotel, and that's all I really know about it so far. But it just looks like an episode of Workaholics, so I'm really excited for that. I follow those guys on Instagram, so like they've been posting like stuff while they're shooting it, and it just looks absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, so we saw the movie Bright on Netflix, starring Will Smith, directed by David Ayer, the guy who did Suicide Squad.
Max Landis.
Written by Max Landis.
Yep.
Who is he? He writes for Marvel a lot, right?
He's mostly a movie writer. He wrote American Ultra. And the only comic stuff I know of that he's done is he's the one that did that Superman American Alien book.
Oh yes.
There's probably more, but that's the one I know.
Yeah, he's a really interesting writer.
He's an interesting person. I've heard a lot of interviews with him over the years, and he's just
he did.
Kooky.
He did Chronicle. That's right. Oh man, how do I forget about? And I'm pretty sure he also did the Fantastic Four movie, but I don't think we're going to talk about that.
That was the, if I'm remembering correctly, that was the director of Chronicle that went to do that.
Okay. So this guy, he did American Ultra, Victor Frankenstein, which it was a fun movie. He did Bright. And he's doing. It's announced that he's doing the new An American Werewolf in London, which kind of sucks that they're remaking that movie.
Yes, that's right. Because the person who wrote the original American Werewolf in London is his father.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's how he got. Basically, he was raised in this business essentially.
If anybody hasn't seen Chronicle is basically like what you would want. For like it's a found footage superhero movie, basically. It's awesome. Yeah, I completely forgot about that movie. I kind of want to watch it again now.
Really good Fantastic Four movie, which is why it's confusing that the Fantastic Four movie was really bad.
Was so bad. But I don't think Max Landis wrote that. So, okay, so Bright. Yeah, so Bright is it's basically a quick plot synopsis is it's like a modern day movie with orcs and elves are like the rich people, the upper class, and the orcs are kind of like I saw the orcs as being like, I don't know, the black population in like a city where they're like living in the slums and they're kind of discriminated against, but
they were definitely I understand, just for clarification, because I don't want you to get in trouble for that, but they were the ones that were in gangs. It was definitely like a Compton-like area that they were in.
Yeah.
So they were definitely meant to represent that community in this.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was definitely like the black community which is, I mean, it was really interesting because I want to know more about the orcs because it's crazy that it's like a modern day movie, but they're talking about like, oh, you know, you have to be a blood brother or, worship the old ways and all this crazy stuff.
I kind of want like Max to do a comic of some sort that's a prequel that talks about all these things, because I want to know, like, because I'm sitting there and listening to all this old lore, and it's like that'd be so interesting if it was like set on Earth that this stuff happened.
Yeah, they said like there was these great wars like 2,000 years ago. Well, anyways, so Will Smith is a cop and his partner is an orc. Well, he's the only orc cop, and orcs are usually lower class gangsters and stuff that everybody's making a big deal about his partner being an orc, and like they treat him differently and all this stuff.
Yeah, he was also the first orc cop.
The first orc cop. And Will Smith can't find anyone else to be his partner, so he's stuck with the orc. There's a situation that happens where the orc lets a criminal get away that shoots Will Smith, and there's all this controversy going around that. Basically, I'm trying to explain the plot right now. It's actually kind of complicated, and I noticed one thing while watching the movie is a lot of the scenes, there's a lot of like hand waving, kind of like speed up a scene, like finish off a scene really quick because they had to like move on to the next thing. Because they had to really establish a lot and resolve this whole story going on in 2 hours.
Yeah, it would have been better suited as a TV show.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of the stuff that happens in this movie like sounds really goofy, but it's just awesome.
Yeah, I really liked it. And it's another one of those movies that's getting terrible reviews. And this is like, it's crazy because we always talk about Netflix never releases their statistics for shows because like who the hell cares? They're making tons of money, but all these movie critics are like, man, this fucking sucks. I was texting all my friends and everyone that like this. I text my sister, I text my friends. I was like, you guys got to watch this. This is really good. Don't listen to the critics. They're like, yeah, I'll get around to it. I'm like, no, it's actually like, I was getting towards the end. I'm like, holy shit, this is a pretty good plot. But Netflix was like, yeah, so it almost hit as many viewers as the weekend of Stranger Things. Like Stranger Things season 2. I think Stranger Things season 2 had like 12 million views, and this had like 11 million views the day it came out, or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Which is like, they're like, yeah, so like you could put out bad reviews, but that doesn't, when like we're in your living room and you already paid for us. You'll give it 15 minutes. You're gonna press A to play the movie and watch it, right? I mean, nothing's stopping you.
Well, it performs so well that they also went out and announced that all the two lead actors, Will Smith and I don't remember who the other guy is, and then David Ayer are in for a sequel of some sort.
Yeah, they're doing a sequel.
The only person who's not in is Max, but
yeah. But I mean, he kind of already built the universe anyways, so they just kind of have to like expand off it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the characters are good. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I wasn't expecting I was expecting orc cops and elves. That's what I got. I'm not trying to come out of this movie like a changed person by any means. But as like a free Netflix movie, it was like I would have paid $10 this month to probably go see that at the theater.
Easily. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And I had a little bit of a different perspective because I heard interviews leading up to it with Max and knew about it and knew it was coming. And I really enjoyed it. Like everything about it, down to, I mean, if you really want to get into like some of the Christian themes behind it and everything, but at the end of the day, it was just a really fun mashup movie with a lot of action in it and a magic wand.
Magic wand. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, dude. Netflix has been putting so much stuff out that like Peaky Blinders. I don't know if I talked about it on here. It's one of my favorite shows.
I've never watched it.
That's on Netflix, and the reason I started watching it was because Cillian Murphy and Tom Hardy are like the two main actors in the show.
Oh, really?
And it's like, yeah, it's like right there. You have Scarecrow and Bane. It's a British show, so I will say this: it's like it's like a Birmingham, like early, late 1800s, early 1900s, maybe. I'm not too sure about but it's like it's like Cockney accents where it's like, I say, fuck you. It's like, I can't understand what they're saying half the time, so I put subtitles on. They're speaking English. Like, especially when Tom Hardy gets on the, like, you're going to watch this and be like, I have no, like, the way Tom Hardy appears, he has like this huge monologue, and he's talking about like, I don't even know. He's like, and he like, the way he says words, they're like, sometimes they're just like, I almost think he's about to puke. Like, he makes like really guttural like sounds, and like the subtitles like, did ya? And I'm like, what? So it's like, and it's like back where they said like, ain't it, like really quick, and it's like, isn't it? And it's an awesome show though. I mean, the Peaky Blinders are a gang that Cillian Murphy's family's part of, that they rise up through the ranks and gain all this power. I'm not going to give away too much. Sam Neill, I believe, is in the first couple seasons. Sam Neill, if anybody doesn't know who that is, was the lead actor in the Jurassic Park movie. He's the main guy, is Sam Neill, who touches down on...
The raptor guy?
No, Sam Neill's the guy who brings them to Jurassic Park, the guide.
Oh, the old guy.
Not the old guy that runs Jurassic Park. The Indiana Jones character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The one that's like one of the archaeologists. I don't remember the character. Guy. Yeah, was he the raptor guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought you meant the one that gets eaten by the raptor. That goes clever girl, and he gets eaten.
No, he's the one that carries around the raptor claw.
Yeah,
he talking about raptors and
yeah, you're right. And he's like, oh, they're the bird claw thing. Yeah, okay. So yes, it is the raptor guy. And he plays an amazing part. There's so many amazing characters that make cameos this season. In season 4, really crazy surprise. I had no idea. Adrian Brody plays the villain in this season. And like this season, we start to see what's going on in America with the mafia, and he comes over to England and he plays like an Italian mobster. Dude, one of the best characters on television I've ever seen was to watch this guy play like and he was like with the toothpick and stuff. It was so spot on that I was like terrified of this guy. I'll never be able to look at Adrian Brody the same way because he just looks like a mobster to me now. He's got like the big nose and everything. He just fits the part. Who else is in it? Oh, Peter Baelish, Littlefinger from Game of Thrones is in this season. He, I don't know actually know the actor's name, but he's the guy on The Wire too. He played the political guy on The Wire. He was running for mayor. But he has like this really long blonde wig with like a top hat on because the Peaky Blinders, the family that runs it, they're like part gypsies, so they're kind of like looked as like dirty and scummy, and this guy's a gypsy as well. He's another gypsy family, but his wig is kind of funny because it almost looks like when they put the fake wig on Arrow in the TV show. It's like that is a fake wig, but it is a fantastic show. You got to watch it, and it originally started off as a BBC show, so it's kind of like Luther was. It's really short, the same setup as like Sherlock is too, with Benedict Cumberbatch. It's like 6 episodes a season, and they're all an hour long, but that's it. That's the season. So it's like a 6-hour movie you're watching.
Okay.
Really good though. Oh man, between that and Black Mirror, it's the same setup as Black Mirror too. Black Mirror is like 6 episodes, an hour each. It's great stuff. Yeah. Peaky Blinders, and I mean, if Tom Hardy doesn't get you to watch it, like, come on, that guy is any role.
Tom Hardy alone is the reason I want to watch it now.
Yeah, and I told someone that at work. They're like, "Oh, Tom Hardy's in it." Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, now I got to watch it." He does a lot of stuff like under the radar that people don't know about, and he just shows up in the show and he's got a beard and a hat on. I'm like, is that Tom Hardy? Like, he's not even in the credits for the show or anything when he shows up. Like, yeah, it's awesome. So, yeah, Netflix is just killing it.
Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Comics Bento. So if you've never done Comics Bento before, it's a subscription service, much like a lot of the other subscription services out there, where you pay them about $25 a month. They send you a box in the mail. You don't know what's in the box. It's a surprise when it gets there. It's really cool. Guaranteed $50 or more worth of graphic novels. So what does this mean? You're going to get awesome graphic novels from DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, so on and so forth. $25 a month, guaranteed to be worth $50. Now, how you show your support for Fortress Comic News? Go to fortresscomicnews.com. You will see a logo for Comic Bento on the home page. Click on that and shop away. And you will show them that you support us here at Fortress Comic News.
So you want to talk about the one piece of news we got this week?
Oh yeah, we do have news today, folks. Yeah, so in the past we were all excited about it that Jeff Johns was kind of like the Kevin Feige of the DC universe, holding all the DC cinematic universe together as like movies and stuff. He has now stepped down to focus on comics and TV shows, which I mean that's quite a bit. Which I mean it's kind of exciting because that might mean after he does Doomsday Clock, that he might start writing other characters again. I don't know, maybe. But the guy that replaced him was Walter Hamada, which is, I got his IMDb page pulled up. Walter Hamada is a producer on movies. Now, Kevin Feige is a producer, I guess you could consider him, right? Or executive producer, or whatever they call him.
He's considered an executive producer.
So this guy is executive producer. And I almost, after reading, so let me read you his like history of movies. He wrote one movie. He helped write 47 Ronin, that movie with Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
So, like Samurai, which I liked it. Like that was another movie that got terrible reviews, but kind of like The Great Wall. Yeah. Like I'll eat that shit up. I love movies with monsters and like swords. Like hell yeah. I mean, it wasn't a terrible movie, but anyways, the story of 47 Ronin has been done so many times too. It's like it's not an original story.
Oh, even I.
Yeah. So Friday the 13th. This is starting in 2009. So Friday the 13th, The Final Destination, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Final Destination 5, The Conjuring, 47 Ronin, Annabelle, The Gallows, Conjuring 2, Lights Out, Annabelle Creation, and then he did It, the newest It. They're all horror movies, but if you notice something like The Conjuring 2, Annabelle is part of The Conjuring, Final Destination, there's like 6 or 7 of those movies out. Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, they're all horror movies that are part of a bigger universe, right? Or not part of a bigger universe, but they have a lot of movies under their belt. I don't know how many Friday the 13th movies there are. Like movies containing Jason. The Conjuring, it's a whole universe in itself, with the Annabelle movies. The Final Destination movies, I don't know this. The Final Destinations are kind of like, I'll watch them to have fun because they're like hilarious to watch. I really don't pay attention to the continuity. I don't know if those characters, I don't know if they're related somehow. I'm by no means saying this guy is qualified or not qualified, but what I'm saying is it seems like he has some experience with movies that need to be tied together at some point, or they're related to each other.
Yeah.
Whether or not that means he can assemble a DC cinematic universe, I have no idea. I will say that James Wan is involved with most of those movies. I mean, he directed The Conjuring, and he's a huge horror movie director. Like he was part of Annabelle and stuff. So I'm almost wondering if like this discussion came up while he was directing Aquaman. And I'm sure that this guy sat down with DC at some point and pitched him an idea, or at least said, like, this is how I would do it.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine he did. I mean, they did say that Jeff Johns will, like, still work with this guy. But I think that's kind of them trying to satisfy the fanboys, personally.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think what matters here is that they brought Jeff Johns in. They said fix an unfixable situation, and he wasn't really able to. And Justice League didn't perform the way they wanted. So they found a guy who has a track record of making movies that perform. And at the end of the day, that's all they really care about.
It's actually really funny. The first movie he produced was Sorority Boys. Ever seen that movie?
No.
They're like, the picture trailer is up of it, but they dress up like girls for part of it. I just remember that movie. It was actually pretty funny. Yeah, so we'll see how this goes. I have so much hope for James Wan's Aquaman that if it doesn't perform,
I've said it before on the show. That's my barometer. If that's bad, I'm out. Because
you already know everybody's hyped for Aquaman, and everybody's hyped for James Wan as a director. If this fails, then literally the bigwigs over there got to get their shit together. But yeah, that's the only news we had, folks. For it doesn't make me feel good that he was executive producer on It, because that movie made a ton of money and was great. So I don't want a horror movie Batman though. I really don't want that. So
that'd be an interesting premise, though.
The guy's been a producer on like Annabelle. It'd be so awesome if he did like a Batman movie that was like the villain was ventriloquist, like a really creepy psycho thriller movie. I don't know. It would never happen. But speaking of horror movies, though, if anybody's paying attention out there, the Slender Man trailer dropped like 5 years too late, if you ask me.
Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know, Slender Man was like a really popular horror game where like I don't really think there was a plot to it. You kind of just walked around and picked up like random diary pages, and this really tall Slender Man followed you around. And
didn't it start off as like an internet meme?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's like this long, lengthy guy, and if you look at him, you can see he's following you. If you turn around, he gets closer, and then he like kills you. Well, they turned it into a horror movie because why not? And my only problem with the trailer is they show Slender Man once, and everything else is like this story about these girls, and I don't really understand, because like the whole point of Slender Man was there wasn't really a plot behind it. You kind of had to like pick up the pieces and figure out what was going on. And someone online made a really good point. They're like, I kind of wish they went the whole route of the movie The Witch, where it was like, it's borderline like horror movie or you're going insane. You don't know either one by the end of it. Like, was that really happening? Was she going insane? I don't know. I guess we'll see I'll see it when it comes out.
Yeah.
But it's almost like when they released the Angry Birds movie. You remember that? It was like nobody's talking about Angry Birds anymore or playing Angry Birds. It's like you guys are like 5 or 6 years too late. And if I know anything about video game movies, is like to avoid them at all costs.
Oh yeah, that's like they're still trying to produce a Grumpy Cat movie. Like what? At this point,
yeah.
Why bother?
Why even bother? Grumpy Cat was like a week, maybe 5 years ago. I don't know. And it's like Tomb Raider's coming out too. There was another trailer release for Tomb Raider. It's like that. Oh God, you guys still can't get it right. I don't know.
I don't get it.
Anyways, let's I guess we'll talk what we've been reading lately and stuff. What's going on? What have you been reading?
Well, I condensed it because if I didn't, we'd be here all day. So
yeah, same. I have read a lot of stuff too. So
I'm picking some kind of best of the past couple of weeks.
We got to talk about Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday Clock and Metal are here. So
okay.
But I'll start with Marvel 2-in-1. This is the team-up book with Thing and Human Torch. And it's all about them trying to... They've basically been given something that says that Reed and Sue are still alive somewhere. And so the whole book is going to be about them trying to find Reed and Sue. And kind of rekindling the Fantastic Four. It was really good. I kind of picked it up on a whim because I like Chip Zdarsky, who's the writer. But Fantastic Four I'm hit or miss with. And but picked up and it was amazing. Like the art is fantastic. The book's really good. Like the story's awesome. And it's not a typical Chip Zdarsky book where he tends to skew like humor and kind of self-aware, punny writing, but he takes it really serious in this one, and I highly recommend it. Anybody, even if you're not a big Fantastic Four fan, like I really enjoyed it. Rocko's Modern Life #1.
Oh snap!
It's really good. Like the art brings me right back to the old cartoon, and the story is kind of basically Rocco trying to live in the 21st century. Like his job is now obsolete, so he got let go.
What was his job again? I can't. You gotta remind me.
He worked. He was basically a what do they call it? Like a phone salesman. Like he.
Oh yes! Oh my god! Telemarketer, yeah.
So he gets let go, and he has to find a way to pay for the house and all this stuff. It's just really fun scenarios, and it's characters I loved when I was younger, and I really enjoyed it. I got Star Wars Storms of Crate.
Oh.
If anyone remembers, spoilers for Last Jedi, but at the end of the movie, they end up on Crate, where they find that rebel base.
Yeah.
This is the story of
the salt mines
of Luke, Han, and Leia going to that planet for the first time and kind of investigating it for the base and what happens. It's really good. It's full of just extended universe stuff. If you like Star Wars EU, you'll have fun with it, and it kind of explains a little bit more of what's going on in Last Jedi. And the next book in line is going to be a DJ book as well. So, really good stuff. And I will throw it over to you because my next two are Doomsday Clock and Metal.
All right. I got Metal here somewhere. Hold on one second. Got it in my folders. As you can see, I've been very prepared for this week's show, everyone.
Welcome to 2018, where Mike is very, very prepared.
I actually had to open it because it's been like, I don't know, a week or two since I read it, and my mind isn't what it used to be, kids. Oh yeah, I remember this issue now. Okay, Dark Knights #4. What a great issue! Holy crap! I'm like skimming through it again. Yeah, so it kind of ties up all of the stories going on. We're in the dark multiverse, and the three Supermen that come to grab Bruce Wayne. He's like old and withered. He's like they've been draining his life force. He's been chained up, and the three someone gets me at DC. Well, first off, Greg Capullo is drawing this, but Blue Superman grabs him. Is one of the Supermen that grabs him.
Yeah. Which
I have his first appearance. If anyone remembers, I think it was Grant Morrison that split him off into two. I'm not sure, but there's a point where like Superman had to do something with the moon, I believe. He had to like fly out to the moon, and he had these giant metal rods, and he had to like conduct an electromagnetic force to stop the moon from like crashing into the Earth or something crazy like that. And then he explodes and becomes Blue Superman. He comes back as like a force of energy.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's really comic book science we're talking with here, people. And then Red Superman comes back. So anyways, yeah, so there's that, and there's a Superman that's in the Lex Luthor armor, and then there's a Superman that's in like bat armor. So basically they're trying to escort Bruce Wayne, and he ends up getting away because he has this gauntlet that he's like, I recognize my own technology. He grabs this gauntlet that it almost looks like the Infinity Gauntlet, right? It's got all these colors in it, and then you realize it's a gauntlet that contains all the kryptonite colors, and he's like, I don't know which one you guys are weak to, but I'm just gonna blast you with all of them, and it's like awesome. It's so cool. So then we go to the Rock of Eternity, where the whole group that's assembled, like Dr. Fate, Wonder Woman is, and they're looking for the last of the nth metal because that seems to be the key of what's going to save them. And when they get there, they have to fight the embodiments of sin, because if anybody knows, the Rock of Eternity goes back to, I think it's the seven pillars of sin. And then like the wizard Shazam hangs out there, and that's where like Billy Batson first gets his powers. Yeah. Man, I'm like, I have no preparation for this at all, but I'm just like, here we go, deep cuts references. So that's awesome because we get some Shazam references, and then we go to Aquaman goes to Atlantis, and he's with Deathstroke, and they're there to find the last. They're there to find some metal as well. They find this secret doorway. They go through it, and then we get to Mr. Terrific. You got to keep up, people. There's a lot going on in this one issue.
Yeah.
Mr. Terrific, Green Lantern, and the Plastic Man egg are on Thanagar Prime, which is like all of the Thanagarians are on the planet, and there's a guy ruling the planet. His name's Anamar Sin, and I don't really know who this guy is. He says that he consumed the last of the nth metal, though. And as he's talking, I don't know why they threw this in here, but it's awesome. Starro is like hiding behind the throne. Yeah. And he's like a little punk Starro. He's not like giant, but he's like, I'm back, losers.
I fucking loved it. I love Starro.
Yeah, it was so good. He's like, killed me, I psyched you out, sucker. Oh my god!
I love their explanation too, because like there's one of those notes from the editors, that says like, oh, normally it says like this happened in this issue, and it's just like this happened, and then it's just the horns like metal sign. It was so great.
Scott and Greg. It was like, see issue, Scott and Greg. When did this happen? And it's funny because the first appearance of the Justice League is when they fight Starro. So it's like, I don't know, it's just a fun reference there. And so basically they find out that they built this like cannon on the Thanagarian planet that'll like, it's called the Phoenix Cannon. And it's going to destroy the Earth basically if like it gets taken over by the dark universe. So he's basically like, yeah, I just needed the final piece to destroy Earth, and the final piece ended up being Green Lantern's ring. So now we go back to the beginning of the issue where Batman is like fighting the Superman guys, and he disappears. And it's him and Superman. They're both old because they've been withered down by like the dark multiverse taking their powers. And who are they hanging out with? Oh, they're hanging out with Sandman. And Sandman basically gives this long comic book explanation of like what's going on. He's in the Dream Library or whatever it is, Lucian's library. And basically the books have been burning. Like all the ancient stories are withering away. There's a lot. It's a lot of heavy. Like it was almost like if you were. How do I pick an analogy for this? Like if you're in Gen Chem and physics, and then like someone comes to you and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna introduce string theory to you. Here you go." Like you're really into comics, but then they're like, "Okay, now we're just gonna throw all this shit at you." Yeah. So we find out that the evil Batmen are like hanging out in a like a pocket universe. So they need to go to the forge of the first metal to find there's been a weapon created to like destroy them. It's like their last hope to destroy the evil Batman or like the dark multiverse. They need to go to the Forge of Creation, where all this started, basically, like where the dark, the light were created. They find out the story, and Sandman's basically like, yeah, I can't take this shit anymore. I'm just going to send you guys there, which is really convenient for them. So they get there. As they're getting there, Lady Blackhawk, or she turns into Lady Blackhawk, but what's her name? Hawk Girl, Kendra, that they've been like, that Wonder Woman and Dr. Fate have been trying to find nth metal with, transforms into Lady Blackhawk. She's basically evil. And then something happens to Dr. Fate where he just gets like obliterated in his helmet. Someone comes out of his helmet, and the person that comes out of his helmet is Black Adam, which is awesome because we haven't seen Black Adam, I think, since Forever Evil. So they basically say like, oh, him and all the other immortals have made a deal with Barbados because they're originally villains, right? So why would they not side with the guy who wants to take over the world? Mm-hmm. Which that kind of makes sense. But they've kind of crossed Wonder Woman, so I hope she kicks their asses. At the end of the book, though, like, you don't think it can get any more crazy, right? They go to the Batman and Superman out there, like the Forge of Worlds, it's called. That was like what created this multiverse. And Carter Hall's been missing. The original Hawkman's been missing. And so they're in the Dark Forge, and they find out where Carter Hall's been, and he's this giant, like, 200-foot Hawkman holding a sledgehammer, and they found out like who the Keeper of the Forge is, and it looks like they either need his help or they need to destroy him to get what they're after. And the last page is just so awesome. It's like, it's a giant Hawkman monster thing holding a giant hammer. It's like, it doesn't get more metal than that. Honestly, it was a crazy issue. I enjoyed it. But
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. I know I don't usually explain comics word for word like this, but there's just so much going on that was like, the fact that they're able to keep it all, they're going to be able to tie this all together. Like, I could slowly it's starting to make more and more sense as it gets closer and closer.
And Capullo's on top of his game in this issue.
Oh yeah, dude, he's drawing left and right characters and monsters, and we didn't even talk about when the part with like Kendra and Wonder Woman and them. They're doing something with the astral brain of the Anti-Monitor, so like, there's some really deep references to some old, like, the Anti-Monitor and the creation of the universe and all this stuff. There's like, man, if you've been reading DC Comics for a while, if you've been reading all the continuity stuff, this is pretty cool that they're making references to all this. Yeah, what a great issue. Doomsday Clock, man. Oh, whew. We're only 2 issues in. And we've already talked about some more multiverse stuff, right? Basically, Ozymandias gets his little crew that he has on the owl ship, and he transports them. Him, Rorschach, the Mime, and I can't remember the girl's name. She's like Harley Quinn.
I want to say ventriloquist, but I know that's not right.
I think that's right. Yeah, ventriloquist.
Okay.
I have the book right here. It looks. I think it's something like that. But he finds the dimension that Dr. Manhattan is hiding out in, because everybody's been wondering where Dr. Manhattan is. So basically, when they travel there, I mean, it's a long issue with a lot of like cool hints and fun stuff happening. You get a glimpse into both worlds and stuff like that. But yeah. He brings these 2 villains along because Dr. Manhattan had an interaction with them back in the day. Basically, he would have obliterated any villains like that he came into contact with, but he had realized that like this girl had been pregnant when it all went down, like they were robbing a bank, so he kind of let her go. Mm-hmm. So I think Ozymandias is going to hopefully use her to reignite some type of hope or emotion out of Dr. Manhattan, was something that's usually what he's a universe that's all knowing and can do whatever he wants. He's a being that can control the universe. So I think this is a way to try to ground him back to Earth, which is a pretty neat concept. The cool part of the issue, though, is the universe that they get to is, if I had to guess, they don't explicitly say what Earth it is, but I believe it's Earth Prime.
They definitely want you to believe that. I don't see why it wouldn't be Earth Prime.
Yeah. And I mean, that's where Superman is now, like the main Superman.
Yeah.
So they land in Gotham, and you get this really cool ending of the book where Rorschach, he goes to Wayne Manor, and basically Ozymandias like identifies the two smartest men in the world. The first one being, there's always been debate about this through the DC, and it's always changed throughout the continuity. But the first one being Lex Luthor, the second one being Bruce Wayne. So Rorschach goes to meet Bruce Wayne, and Ozymandias goes to meet Lex Luthor because he's like, yeah, I got to go meet Lex Luthor. He's the smartest and evil and stuff like that.
Well, basically they're doppelgangers in
some
ways.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And it kind of ends with like Rorschach and Batman haven't really talked yet. But Ozymandias and Lex Luthor have talked, and he kind of thinks he's insane. Lex Luthor thinks he's insane. So
yeah. I really enjoyed it too. I thought that it was another kind of slowish issue, but not in a bad way.
Yep.
And outside of what you said about the mime and I'm pretty sure it's ventriloquist. Their reason for being there, I think the other reason for them being there is so that they can bring Joker and or Harley Quinn into the story as well, because definitely Joker and Harley Quinn in that universe.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think the next issue is when it's really going to kind of pick up and like get into the story. Yeah, I mean we're on Earth Prime now, so hopefully some crazy stuff starts happening. Picked up some cool stuff on sale over break. Oh man, I got Punk Rock Jesus written and drawn by Sean Murphy. I got the hardcover for like $15. I've always wanted to read that.
I also got the hardcover of, they're like the $50 hardcovers too. I got it for $15 at this comic shop in Albany. I got oh man, why could I not think of the name? I'll go grab it and figure it out while you talk about whatever. But yeah. Oh, I read Batman this week as well. Batman was good. It was, I believe it was another one-shot story. Tom King's been doing a lot of these where we find out there was this kid who wanted to grow up and be like Bruce Wayne, and basically he was like conducting all these murders throughout the city to make Batman think it was like each one of his villains. It was like really messed up. Like the kid's parents died, like Bruce Wayne's, and so like Batman goes to confront him. The kid's like carved like Thomas and Martha like into his head. It's like really messed up.
Holy shit.
Yeah. You go from some like really like touchy-feely stories, some like really messed up stories, but this Batman run has been awesome. I never know what to expect with each issue. But yeah, that's about it.
Well, we definitely mined something out of that, because I thought it was going to be a short episode and ended up being a normal size episode.
All right.
So,
all right.
Mike, where can everybody find you?
Ricker621 on Instagram, my friends.
2018, still no Twitter.
Oh, I have the Twitter. It's Ricker621 on Twitter too. I keep forgetting to download it and post things. I will.
I just like to pick on him for it. So you can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter and Fortress News Chris on Instagram, and the show at fortresscomicnews.com. And I always forget to plug the Twitter for the show, but the show's Twitter is FCN_official. And if you feel so inclined, we now have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Fortress of Comic News.
Yeah, go to the Patreon.
Yeah.
If we get stuff, we'll give you cool content.
Yes.
We have some more cool
we'll
stuff.
do exclusive stuff for Patreon, but right now I'm
Yeah,
busy.
exclusive stuff like T-shirts, maybe. Oh, I don't know, posters, maybe.
Possibly.
Ooh, wow, collectibles. Who doesn't like collectibles?
Yeah, giveaways. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
All right.
Do all that stuff, and then give us a review on iTunes and thumbs up on YouTube, as well as subscribe to the channel so you can see all the great content, and share with your friends. As always, keep reading those comics.
Read them.
Suck down that water. That's how we're going to end the show right there.
Good.